आई मला बोर होता.
आई मला बोर होता.
आई मला खालती खेळायला जायचं.
आई मला खालती खेळायला जायचंय.
आई मला अभ्यास नाही करायचा.
आई मला अभ्यास नाही करायचा.
खट्टी खट्टी.
Hey folks, see Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to another interesting video which is about index funds. You know, many times it happens that everyone feels that market is overheated and it should go down. Sometimes people feel that market is terribly underrated, it should ideally go up. But in all these extreme situations, it becomes very difficult to find out true winners from the market. And then what is the solution? In such a case, if you want a very good diversification in the portfolio, index funds can be a very good option. So before we move on to what is an index fund, what is an index, first let's try and understand why do we need an index. Okay, for that I can give you a very nice simple example of a weather report across Maharashtra, but then that Marathi-ness in me is just not letting me speak in English right now. For those who don't understand Marathi, it's okay. It's just that I'm going to give you a weather report in Marathi. नमस्कार, मी रचना रानडे आणि आता हवामानाचा अंदाज पुढील प्रमाणे. केरळमध्ये मान्सूनने जोरदार हजेरी लावलेली आहे बरं का. आणि आता महाराष्ट्रात काय चित्र आहे आता आपण बघूयात. पुण्यात हलक्या ते जोरदार सरी अपेक्षित आहेत. भिडे पूल मात्र अजून पाण्याखाली गेलेला नाहीये. कोकण किनारपट्टीवरती तर अगदी दक्षतेचा इशारा दिलेला आहे. बाकी कोल्हापूर, बीड, जालना या ठिकाणी अगदी हलक्या सरी अपेक्षित आहे. एकूणच जर म्हणाल तर मान्सूनने महाराष्ट्रातही अगदी खास हजेरी लावलेली आहे. So those who felt that I was talking in some super alien language in last 30 seconds, it's just that I was talking about the weather report in Maharashtra, in which I told about what will be the weather condition in Pune, in Nashik, in Satara, Sangli, Solapur, whatever. Okay. Instead of talking about individual cities, had I talked about what is the situation in Maharashtra as a representative figure, wouldn't that have given you a crisp condition or crisp understanding of what is the overall rain situation in Maharashtra? Obviously, yes. Moving one step forward, rather than talking about individual states, so like in Maharashtra this is the rain situation, in Karnataka it is this much, in Madhya Pradesh it is this much, in Kerala, whatever. Instead of that, if I would have said all in all in India this is what is the monsoon situation. Okay, what is this? This is a representative figure. Okay, how can I correlate this with an index? How can I correlate this with stock market? Let's understand this now. Like we have different cities in India, we have different stocks which are listed on the stock exchange. How many stocks are listed in Bombay Stock Exchange? More than 5,000 companies are listed over the Bombay Stock Exchange. Now, if someone asks me, Rachana, how is market performing today? And if I start saying that, okay, first company is up by this much, second company is down by this much, third, for 5,000 companies, people will go mad. And what will they understand at the end? Nothing. Okay, so if someone were to tell you a representational figure, all in all, markets are performing better as compared to yesterday. What is that representational figure? That is nothing but an index, right? And I'm sure everyone knows that Sensex is the index for BSE, Nifty is the index for NSE. Now, how is this Nifty formed? For that, I have a separate blog. So if you want, you can just go and check out the blog. But just remember one underlying point, that Nifty is nothing but a representational figure of top 50 performing companies over the exchange, right? Now, these top 50 companies are going to be only from one sector? No, from various sectors. But again, understand, the sector which is performing better will have a higher representation in Nifty. All these things and many more details I've written in the blog. So whenever you find time, just go and check it out. Well, now that you have understood what is an index, now let's understand what is an index fund. Okay, this index fund is going to copy the index. Okay, do you remember what happened in the first part of the video? My son Meg was saying something and I was just trying to irritate him. I was trying to copy him, right? So whatever he said, exactly same thing I was trying to say, right? So same thing is what an index fund is going to do. If index has 50 companies, which are, let us say, Reliance, HDFC Bank, HDFC, top all 50 companies, same 50 companies will form a part of this index fund, assuming it's a Nifty index fund. Okay, now Can there be a shuffling in the companies? Yes, after every 6 months, Nifty may there is a reshuffling. Okay, so assume that out of these 50 companies, two companies go out and new two companies come in. Okay, can it be like out of 52 go out and no replacement? Never it will happen. It has to be 50 companies for sure. A and B might go out and Z and L might come in. Just as an example. Okay, what will happen to the index fund? Same. They will also have to replace those with the newer companies. In simple words, I hope you have understood. An index fund is nothing but like a mutual fund which is going to exactly copy an index. Well, mutual funds are very popular in USA. And why won't they be? The very first mutual fund was launched in USA. It was launched by Mr. Bogle, not Harsha Bogle. It was launched by Mr. John Bogle in the year 1976, and the name of the mutual fund was Vanguard. Now, what was it going to track? It was going to track the S&P 500, which is an index of the top 500 companies in USA, right? When they first launched it, the issue size was $150 million, but they were able to raise only $11.3 million. All in all, it was not a very grand success. But after a lot of ups and downs, finally in the year 1990, it touched the $1 billion landmark. And today, it is one of the largest fund in the world. How large it is? It is larger than the entire mutual fund AUM in India. Now let's understand as to why index funds are a preferred choice of many investors. The biggest reason is cost. Which cost? I'm talking about the expense ratio. So if I talk about the average expense ratio for a large cap mutual fund, it's almost around 1.5%. Whereas the average expense ratio for an index fund is just 0.2%. Now you might be wondering 1.5% minus 0.2%. It's just a difference of 1.3%. How big a difference it will make. If you want to understand the difference, just have a look at this chart. Assume that you have invested 10 lakh rupees in a mutual fund for 20 years. Okay. And assume that your CAGR is 15%. What will happen at the end of 20 years? If the expense ratio is 1.5%, at the end of 20 years, the amount would be 1 crore 25 lakhs 86,855 versus with an expense ratio of just 0.2%, the same amount would have been 1 crore 58 lakhs 6,574. So just with a small change in expense ratio of how much? Just 1.3%, you are going to save an approximate amount of 32 lakhs 19,000 in 20 years. So if you can save so much money, why not? Now let's try and understand a comparison between active funds versus index funds. There might be some people who will say, why index funds? Active funds can surely generate better returns as compared to index funds. Are they wrong? Absolutely not. There are many index funds which have given better returns than index funds also. What is the problem? Problem is that you will have to take that extra effort to find out active mutual funds which are performing better. Just to quote you an example, till few years ago, HDFC mutual fund was one of the top performers in the active funds. Right now, if you see, many of the Axis mutual funds are doing better as compared to other. Maybe after 3-4 years, there will be some other mutual fund house which might be performing better than the category, right? So what is your job? Your job will be to find out those winners amongst the existing category. But if you don't want to take so much efforts, is there any option? Yes. And what is that? Index funds. Are the number of index funds which are performing better than active funds, is that improving? Or if I were to put it other way, are the number of underperformers in the active funds growing as compared to index funds? For that we need statistics. Check out the statistics so that you can understand better what I'm saying. Have a look at this chart. What is this? Total number of active funds from 2013 to 2021 is what I've listed on the screen, right from 27 to 31. Next column talks about active funds underperforming the index funds. So in simple words, 13 out of 27 total active funds were underperforming as compared to the index funds. So how much percentage underperformers were there? 48% of the active funds underperformed the index fund. Okay. Now you can see somewhere there's a plus, minus, In 2018, it shot up to 93%. Don't worry, ignore this. This was because of a recategorization of mutual funds, right? But then again, 52%, 48%, and again 52%. So eventually, if I just ignore those middle 1 or 2 years, I can say that all in all, last 3 years, focus on the last 3 years, 52% underperformers, 48% underperformers, and again 52% underperformers. In simple words, I may say that index funds are now performing a shade better than active funds. Okay. Now, what is the main criteria for selecting an index fund? Number one is the expense ratio, and number two is the tracking error. Okay, now you can ask me, is there any mutual fund, if you can name us, which mutual fund has the lowest expense ratio? That is exactly what we are going to talk about in the next part of the video. So Navi Mutual Fund, which is founded by Mr. Sachin Bansal, who is the co-founder and ex-chairman of Flipkart, which is India's largest e-commerce player, with a mission to make financial services simple, transparent and accessible, is coming up with an NFO, which is a low-cost index fund tracking the Nifty 50. The expense ratio for this mutual fund is just 0.06%, which when compared with the category is of 0.2%. As on date of recording the video, this is the lowest expense ratio in the category. The NFO will be available for subscription from 3rd of July, will be valid till 12th of July. You can invest in this NFO with the help of Grow, End Money, Zero the Coin and Paytm Money. Links of all are in the description box. If you want to check out more risks which are related to this NFO, please check out the SID in the description. Well, I generally tell my viewers that I love to stay away from NFOs for obvious reasons. Why? NFOs don't have a previous track record. I can't check what is their 1 year past performance, 3 years ka past performance. That's not possible for an NFO. But all these things won't stand true for an NFO of an index mutual fund. Why? I know the portfolio allocation already, right? So if it is about an NFO of an index fund or if it is about an NFO of a quant fund, these two I can say are an exception to my general stand of staying away from NFOs. Well, I hope you have understood what is an index, what is an index fund, and why index funds are gaining popularity. But always remember
that mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all the scheme related documents carefully.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all the scheme related documents carefully and then only plan your investments. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to share it with your family and friends. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye-bye.